What is happening? Ben Sheppard here, and we are back again on RunThrough TV. All right, today's guest, who is he?
Hi everyone, my name is James Cottriall. I am professionally a singer-songwriter, but I'm an avid runner too. My favourite distance is the mighty marathon, and I'm working on my next one already now.
How did James get to this point in his running journey?
I always used to run a little bit, but very, very hobby level, just to keep myself fit. I used to run primarily on treadmills and kind of sing my songs quietly, because if I could sing them on a treadmill, I'd have more than enough energy for a proper show. It wasn't very good for my timing or my rhythm or anything, but it was just good practice for both my fitness and my music, so they kind of went hand in hand. I didn't start upping it really until the pandemic, because obviously it was very difficult for a lot of people up here, no exception for me, feeling like, oh gosh, I can't do anything now for an indefinite amount of time. And then I just started setting actual goals. Started with relatively easy ones, like just run a 10K again, but it didn't take long for that to get very exciting and turn, why don't we go sub 3 for the marathon and then sub 250 and keep going from there.
Let's be honest, as a musician, James lives a very busy life. So how does he go about balancing life on the road with smashing his goals on the road?
Yeah, it can be very, very complicated, because my life is kind of in a triangle between England, Austria, and California. So obviously there's a lot of time spent on aeroplanes, which I've now translated to perfect recovery time.
Yeah.
I'm forced to put my feet up for a while. But it's just discipline, I suppose, is, set targets, but be realistic. So after a 12-hour flight and adjusting 9 hours, I'm not going to be racing or hitting the hard efforts, and just use those for easy weeks. But as you know, the longer the distance gets, the more aerobic it gets. So the speed work is not secondary, but not quite so essential all the time. But I find a way. And I still sing kind of my own music whilst running, sometimes whilst doing hill training, because it kind of doubles up. I don't run with headphones or anything, because I nearly got run over once and had to jump into a hedge. It wasn't my fault, but at the same time, I thought, well, if I could hear more, then I wouldn't do it. And obviously safety is the most important thing, far more important than a personal best.
It's so cool that James has these two passions in life, his career with music and now his hobby as running that is getting more and more serious. So what's the biggest similarity and the biggest difference between music and running?
Well, I suppose the biggest similarity, I've already used that word, is discipline, because, if I don't write my songs, I can't record them. If I don't get the recordings right, I can't promote them, I can't tour with them. So there comes phases where I'll have sat around for 3 months after a decent success, and then all of a sudden it'll be, I'm now behind. But I'm not behind now, I'm behind next year, when I'm supposed to be out with the next product, with the next song. So it's the same thing. If I don't put in the long runs, the tempo runs, the intervals, I'm not going to get faster. So that's the similar thing. But the biggest difference is, well, obviously running hurts a lot more.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time both of my legs felt fresh, even after good tapers and everything, but that's part of the parcel now. It's just an excuse to put my feet up and eat way more food.
So we've already spoke about James's marathons. He's a marathon runner, considers himself a marathon runner. So breaking that 3-hour mark for the first time must have felt pretty special.
It is absolutely unbelievable. I did it in a high 256s, and then I did it again on the same course 6 months later, just to make sure, because it felt like a dream. And I was like, did I really do that? And then I did it again, almost exactly the same time. And then I left it for a while, and then came my current personal best, which is from Goodwood at Christmas, which remains my personal best, because obviously it's only a month old. But it was just euphoric to hit that next barrier as well. But yeah, sub 3 again, Kipchoge might go sub 2 properly one day, but it's sub 3 to 2. It's just a whole different barrier, isn't it? I still smile every time I think about it, because I'd lived in Vienna for 15 years. So Vienna in Austria is very much my home, where my heart is, where my joy is. And to do it on the home circuit effectively was just brilliant.
Running, music, the two passions for James. Has he ever thought about putting them together?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of writing my first song at the moment that is very much inspired by running, but I'm trying to get rid of all the cliches like jumping over hurdles and stuff. It's very tricky because most of my songs have been about like relationships, real or imaginary, and I've always been quite, well, effectively various aspects of love. And now with folk, it's more about like dedication and energy, and to try and, I want to kind of write the song 180 beats per minute, like perfect cadence. But that kind of gets into the metal genre. That's not really what the music I write, which is pop music, which is usually in the ballpark of 100 to 130. So yeah, it's very difficult because I'd love to write a song and produce a song that I can actually run to myself. I know that's really egotistical, but I'm okay with that.
I'm here for it. In fact, I want a whole album. Being a multi-time marathoner, what's James's favourite race been to date?
Yeah, in terms of marathon course so far, I mean, I know it was a lapped course and where I got my personal best, but I would say Goodwood was my favourite.
8 bloody minutes quicker, 2:49! Yes! I'll take the bell with me.
Because there's something about going past the grandstand, I think it was 10 or 11 times, and just having your fan base there so regularly. Because normally on A to B course, you're quite lucky if you see your friends and family once or twice, maybe 3 times. But being able to see them 11 times was a real boost. And every time I went down that straight, there were a few times I pretended I was a racing car. Went, because obviously, you know, the greatest of the greatest have been on that circuit. So, yeah, I mean, that was fun and different. You know, it's nice to have variety in it.
Hey, if that's not a good review, I don't know what is. RunThrough.co.uk for all of our events right across the country. And I know James is going to be at a few more in the not too distant future as well. And maybe you want to be at an event, maybe you want to enter your first running event, or maybe you just want to get out on the road and start running. What would James's advice to you be?
Well, I would say that the benefits are absolutely endless. It doesn't matter whether it's just how you feel in yourself. Like you could be, you know, slightly overweight and lose a bit of weight. That's a positive. You could feel healthier in your breathing. You could feel more motivated in your day to day. And then you can think about, okay, I want to run a 10K under an hour or under 45 minutes, whatever your level is. And you've got all these achievements. And whether it's your first run where you go, oh, wow, I just ran 3 miles, that is actually quite a long way. The rest of us are just nuts. But, you know, it's really good in just every aspect of life, and do it to what your desires are. You know, I find it helps your mental health, your physical health, and just everything along the way. And then maybe one day you'll set yourself a goal of just running a marathon. I mean, my first marathon was in Los Angeles, and that was my favorite marathon still to date, I'd say, overall, because I knew that I could do it, you know, even though it was, I think, 3 hours 55. So obviously significantly slower than what I can do now. But it also shows that if you put the dedication in, you can improve, and then you can transfer those skills back to your work life, whether you're a singer-songwriter like me or whether you work in an office with quarterly goals. It's the same thing, discipline and dedication and put in the effort. And so I think running is kind of universally positive for everybody.
He's a good man, James. I really enjoyed that conversation. Hope you enjoyed this video too. If you want to see a full unedited, about half-an-hour conversation between me and James, you can check that on the channel as well. I hope to see you at an event very, very soon. Remember, runthrough.co.uk to get yourself entered. Please do subscribe here on RunThrough TV if you don't yet, and I will catch you again very soon.